is poppin', y'all? It is man Clapboy Bales, and welcome to another episode of Wisco Sports Weekly. It is officially time for the NBA playoffs. A wild roller coaster of a ride for the Milwaukee Bucks this season. A lot of thoughts just to think about going into this playoff season. Now, as a Bucks fan, I said many times that winning the championship was one of the best things to ever happen to me because, to be fair, I wanted to at least witness it. But I'm glad I did. Now, obviously, the case for a second championship has been really difficult. The year after was really their chance to do it, and they couldn't come through. And last year, obviously, they had their best season, only to be trampled in the first round by the Miami Heat. And obviously, we didn't know our opponent until right before the game or whatever. And that was disappointing. Obviously, we didn't have Giannis. Obviously, we lost game one, and Giannis got injured. They just looked really bad, and they couldn't even do anything. Miami just outplayed everyone, but in the end, it turned out they were the better team because they made the finals somehow. But you know what? All I can say is I'm glad we're not playing Miami again, and I hope it's Boston that has to face Miami because even though Miami's following the same exact path that they did last year, play like a mid team all year, then come into the playoffs and and then Spoelstra outcoaches a team. I mean, he did that to Missoula last year. I mean, I think they'll do it again. I think Miami can really make a fight out of things, but we'll see. I mean, we don't even know who they're going to face. Miami's going to either face the Knicks or the Celtics. So honestly, whatever happens, I don't know. But honestly, I hope it's the Celtics because then we wouldn't even face them in the second round. But first, we have to get past the Indiana Pacers, the team that has been considered our kryptonite this year. Indiana, so far in 5 games, we played them 5 times this year, ended up only beating them 1 time, and that was the game where Giannis scored his career high. In that game that we won, and there was a lot of beef between these two teams. We lost the first game due to some clutch moments by Tyrese Halliburton, and then that play-in game where it was the semifinal, they had to play the Pacers, and Halliburton obviously stepped up and tried to trash talk Dame, and it got into this real heated rivalry, and then they come home not late, a lot longer later, and Giannis obviously, and yeah, that was apparently a very interesting game. Giannis got his career high. The Pacers tried taking the ball from him, and then that happened, and then 2 more times later, they just lost to them back-to-back days. In all honesty, I don't know what it was, but the Pacers seemed to have our number. But when we played the Pacers, it was all the games we played against them, all 5 games, were before all the drama that really basically started engaging in this season. In the past year, we have had 4 different coaches. After we lost to the Miami Heat last year, Budenholzer got fired. Everyone demanded he did, and that happened. They gave a chance on Adrian Griffin. Adrian Griffin led the Bucks to a 30-13 record. They were only a couple games away from the Boston Celtics at that point. Still the 2nd seed. Now they obviously are now the 3rd, but then the Bucks just obviously started imploding. They felt like they had no choice but to hire Doc Rivers because there was really no one else that would be really available at that point. Doc basically gave them a 500 record, and they ended up with the 3 seed. And the Pacers are a completely different team as well. The Pacers had a great team to surround Tyrese Halliburton, who is obviously their star player. He was a starting all-star, averaged about 20 points a game and more than 10 assists. I think he had the most assists average in the game in NBA this year. Coming from the small town of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, I mean, Halliburton's really stepped up this year, and that's why Indiana's a team that could definitely be considered a contender, a future contender. I don't know if they're a championship contender this year, but for the future, absolutely. Indiana's got a good team in Halliburton, and the reason why the Indiana Pacers are super good is because Halliburton's passing and shooting makes him one of the best point guards in the NBA. Honestly, in my opinion, I'd say out of all the point guards right now, I think he's the second best point guard in the NBA right now. I think there's a lot to really be. I think Patrick Beverley, and I'll get to him later. But when we obviously were playing him in the past, Adrian Griffin was still our head coach. We were regarded as one of the worst defenses in the league. People were obviously critiquing us, and now, the Bucks, even though we have everything has been such a dysfunction ever since Doc Rivers stepped in, I think a lot of it has to do with, the confidence in these players. First off, Damian Lillard is like, I don't know, he's not even panning out to be the player we thought he was going to be. And that's that. So Damian Lillard really has to step up. And we see how Damian can play in the playoffs. So the hope is that version of Damian Lillard rises up and we finally see that, because that's what happened to Jimmy Butler last year. Jimmy Butler was so mid all year, and then in the playoffs, he just couldn't be stopped. So you never know what can happen. The playoffs is a different animal for whoever you are, and that's what's hopeful. Here's a lot of pressure on Damian Lillard. Of course, there's a lot of pressure on Doc Rivers. Everyone calls him the biggest choker of all time. I mean, he has only won one finals, and he's blown so many game sevens, and I get it. I mean, he's not the coach you'd want, but what choice did we have? They didn't want Adrian Griffin because Giannis got a little salty when Adrian called out the truth that his brother sucked. So what can you do? I don't know. But you know what? They had Doc Rivers, and that's what they're going to have to go with. But the big story, obviously, is Giannis's availability. The pressure is on Giannis. If they do not have Giannis in this series, then I don't really have much confidence on the Bucks to advance through the first round. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, if they don't have Giannis, it's going to be very hard for me to really believe that they can get through on a playoff run, because you need your best player and able to do so. And honestly, with the way that the play-in has really changed everything, even the ones after, especially last year, had fallen to an 8 seed, honestly, anything can happen. And with the way that they've been struggling, at times it's just been a rocky road. Dame has been inconsistent. Bobby's been our best scorer, so he honestly is going to have to step up if Giannis isn't available. But if the Giannis is available, and who knows how he'll be. And 2, calf injuries. What happened to KD when he had a calf injury? Comes right in, and during that, he misses a calf injury, tries to come back, play, and boom, there goes his Achilles, out the entire next season. That's the thing I don't want to happen with Giannis, and that would be terrible. And that's something you got to really watch. I think the Bucks just have to be, he's going to be trying to edge out to play, but it's the doctors that are going to have to make these calls. I mean, if you think about it, that's the doctors that make these calls. But yeah, it's going to be hard to really believe that the Bucks can manage to pull off a series if they don't have Giannis. I mean, that's why they obviously did not beat the Heat last time, but they need to really step it up. Now, the Pacers have also looked very different. The Bucks have looked very different. We also got Patrick Beverley on our team, and I think obviously they're going to probably incorporate him in the starting lineup to especially have to guard Tyrese Halliburton. It's going to really be a big key. The starting lineup likely will be Dame at point, Beverly at shooting guard, or he plays point guard, but I think technically they'll both be, you need two. I think they're going to start the 2 point guards for defensive purposes. Middleton at small forward, Giannis if he plays at power forward, and if not, probably Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez at center. That will probably be the starting 5 for the Bucks. For the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton obviously is their point guard. Shooting guard, it was a lot of different people all year. Now it is Nembhard, Andrew Nembhard. I don't want to get the wrong. I know there's another Nembhard in college. That's his younger brother, but whatever Nembhard. I think Andrew Nembhard, who is a point guard, also is at the shooting guard role. Aaron Nesmith is now at the small forward. Miles Turner is at the center. And then also a big trade in the middle of the season. They traded a bunch of people on the Pacers for Pascal Siakam. And that is a big deal. They had Bruce Brown. I think Jordan Nora and Bruce Brown were traded to the Indiana Pacers for Pascal Siakam. They've really had a different starting lineup. Also, they had Buddy Hield. They traded him away. And, they're really just going with this Halliburton and Pascal Siakam to really be the catalysts of this offense. And then, they also had Benedict Mathurin, but he is out for the year. So this is a guy that's likely a 6-year candidate. So that is a big plus. Indiana hasn't really been the same. They were one of the hottest teams in the league, but they still can average a lot of points. Their offense is what makes them good. They're one of the best passing teams in the entire league. You got literally 3 of the best passers in all of the NBA in Halliburton, Nembhard, and off the bench, TJ McConnell. You got 3 phenomenal passers that are guards that can really facilitate plays. That's what makes this team really good to stop. Now, the Bucks, I think it's going to be Patrick Beverly all over Tyrese Halliburton. That's going to be the big matchup, seeing how he handles himself and really plays on Halliburton. Last time, Halliburton made Lillard look bad. That was the difference. We don't need that anymore. This is a different Bucks team because we have Doc Rivers. We didn't have a dumb coach not giving his people we didn't have a guy that was. Now we have a guy who actually has some sort of playoff experience to lead a team against the Pacers. If Giannis is available, I believe they can win this series because, first off, the Pacers have no experience. That's the only thing I can say. And the Bucks, I feel like they can take control. If they want to take control, they need to really show that they can do these things. I believe that they are capable of it. The home field advantage is important. And that is obviously, if they are able to win a playoff series, without Giannis, that'd be incredible. I would be shocked if they did that. But they need Giannis if they want to get through this year. Otherwise, it's a one and done, another failed season, and everyone's going to be panicking. And if you want to think about this, the only person who has, Damian Lillard's not on the hot seat because of his poor play as of recently. Doc Rivers is not on the hot seat. John Horst is, because Horst is panicking and doing everything possible to accommodate Giannis to the point where he knows since they already won the championship, if they don't ever win anything again, he deep down knows Giannis is gone. That's how he feels. All the pressure is on Horst right now because of what everything has happened this year. This has been a dramatic year. Lots of things can happen, but I will be cheering on the Bucks and hoping that Giannis takes home his second title as well as Damian's first. So without further ado, if you like what you see, subscribe below, comment with your thoughts. The first game is on Sunday. No time, obviously, yet. The play-in tournament has to obviously go on this week, and we will obviously find out more information coming through. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I will see if I have the time, to make reaction videos to every game. Obviously, I don't know if I do that all the time, but we will see what happens. But in the end, Let's go Bucks. We will see you next time.